All right, so jumping straight into one of the first steps that you need to be aware of, which is that you need to decide on your method of fulfillment. Now, when I say method of fulfillment, what I mean by this is that there's various different ways that you're going to be able to ship out your orders to your customers. But I would say that the two main ways that you can do it is either by doing drop shipping or by buying the stock in bulk, packaging the orders that you get every single day and shipping it out to your customers. There's no right or wrong method when it comes to how you decide to fulfill your orders, but it is very important to make sure that you understand the pros and cons with these two different methods. So starting off with dropshipping, and for those of you that don't know exactly what dropshipping is, this is basically where you're not going to be responsible for shipping out your orders. What you're going to do is find a dropshipping supplier, and whenever you make a sale, it's going to be that supplier's responsibility to make sure that they ship out the orders on time. So you never have to see the orders, you never have to see any inventory. All you're going to do is list products. From there, your supplier is going to ship it out to your customers. And even though, yes, this sounds amazing, there is some pros and cons that you need to know. So let's start off with some of the pros. So one of the first pros to dropshipping is that you're going to be able to start making sales within the first few days. So one of the things that I personally like about dropshipping is that you can get a store set up ASAP and start getting orders from that store as soon as possible as well. Because you're not buying the products in bulk, you don't necessarily need to wait a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks for your supplier to send you your inventory. You're going to be able to set up your store and start generating sales straight away. Of course, if you've built your store in the right way, which I'm going to speak about a little bit later on in this video. Another pro to dropshipping is that you can easily pivot if the product isn't working. And by this, what I mean is that if you found a winning product and it doesn't seem to be winning for you, you're going to be able to easily pivot to another product, which is something you're not really able to do if you're buying the products in bulk. And I'm sure right now most of you are probably thinking to yourself, Sam, dropshipping sounds like a dream. What exactly could be a negative when it comes to this particular way of fulfilling my orders? Well, moving on to one of the first cons that I'm going to speak about, which is that you don't have any real quality control. So one thing that I've learned when it comes to doing dropshipping is that you're not really able to look at the product before it reaches the customer. You're essentially putting the reputation of your business in another company's hand, because there could be a situation where they might send out an empty box by accident, or they might send out the wrong item. There's so many different issues that can happen when you're using a third party to fulfill your orders. And that's one of the reasons why I do like to buy stock in bulk, because I like to make sure that I'm sending out the right order. I like to make sure that the item actually works. Just generally speaking, I like to have quality control when it comes to the e-com businesses that I build. Another con is that you can expect to have longer delivery times. So 7 times out of 10, you're going to have to use a supplier that's based in China when it comes to building up a dropshipping business. A majority of the suppliers in China tend to have a minimum delivery time of at least 5, maybe 7 working days. Depending on how you build your e-com business, this may or may not be a problem, but it's definitely something that you need to be aware of. But moving on to the first pro when it comes to buying inventory in bulk, which is that you're going to be able to beat out a lot of your competition. And by this, what I mean is that because most people tend to lean towards dropshipping because it's easier, you don't need to invest any money, most of the products that are available on the internet tend to have longer delivery times. So if you're able to import the products from China into your country, especially if you live in countries like the US, UK, Australia, Germany, New Zealand, Canada, all of these different countries that tend to have a big population of people that shop online, you're going to be able to instantly beat out a lot of the competition that's on the internet selling the exact same products that you want to sell. That's something that I've noticed anyway when it comes to my dropshipping stores, as well as the stores where I'm buying stock in bulk, because I'm able to offer 1 to 2 day delivery for the actual inventory that I have here in the UK. Because of that, I'm able to beat out a lot of competition. Not only that, I'm also able to charge a premium price. So there's a lot of customers out there that are willing to pay a higher price for the exact same product if they're able to receive it within 1 to 2 days. The way that I was actually able to quit my full-time job and build up an e-commerce business was because I was buying the products in bulk, and I was able to make a decent amount of profit and cash flow because I was able to charge that premium price and customers were happy to pay it. This is something that you're not really able to do with dropshipping. There's going to be slimmer margins, and this is just something that you need to know before you get started. But moving on to one of the first cons when it comes to buying stock in bulk, which is that it requires you to have a starting budget. Now, of course, this may or may not be a con depending on your financial situation. A lot of you that are watching this video maybe have some money put aside when it comes to starting an online business and you're happy to invest in that business. But for those of you that are thinking about going down the route of buying stock in bulk and you don't really have that much money when it comes to getting started, then of course this is going to be a major con. Because not only do you need to find the money when it comes to investing in the inventory, but there's also a risk in terms of you not being able to sell it. Which actually now brings me on to the second con, which is that you're going to need space when it comes to storing the inventory. Now for me, I was lucky enough to have a spare room in my mum's house at the time when I was starting out my e-commerce business, and then from there I moved into an office space. But if you're someone that doesn't have any space in their house at all, it's going to be a little bit difficult when it comes to you buying stock in bulk if this is the option that you want to go down. But whichever fulfillment method that you decide to go with, the second step after that is that you're going to have to decide on a platform. And when I say platform, what I mean by this is that there's various different websites or softwares or whatever you want to call them that you can use when it comes to you making products available for customers to buy. But I would say that the three main ones that I've used anyway on my e-com journey is eBay, Amazon, and Shopify. Now, eBay and Amazon are both marketplaces. Amazon is obviously the #1 most visited e-commerce platform in the entire world, the #1 marketplace in the entire world. eBay is the second one, and Shopify is a platform that allows you to build your own website that customers are going to be able to go directly onto by going directly to your domain, which is www. followed by your website name.com. And all of these different platforms have various different pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages, but I would say that the one that you should go with initially is the one that you know the most. You can definitely be successful with any one of them over the next year. It's all going to come down to which one you want to start with. And once you've succeeded with that initial platform, you can now move over to the next ones. And ultimately, you want to get to the point where you've built a multi-platform e-commerce store. And that's exactly how I done it. Initially, I sold on eBay because I was a customer of eBay for many, many years and I knew exactly how to be a seller. And then from that point, I grew my eBay store to $10,000 a month, $20,000, $40,000, $50,000 in a single month. And then I thought it made sense for me to branch over to another platform, which was Amazon. From there, I was able to grow my sales to around $10,000, $20,000 in a month. And then from that point, I built my own website using Shopify. And then I got to the point where I was able to generate sales every single day on all of these different platforms. Some days my eBay store does a lot better, other days my Amazon store did better, and other days, of course, my Shopify store outperformed all of them. But because I focused on one platform at a time, I was able to build it up gradually, and then from there, I was able to learn what I needed to learn before I moved over to the next one. Because the mistake that you don't want to make as a beginner is that you don't want to overwhelm yourself when it comes to understanding how to build a e-com store on multiple different platforms, because all of them are different. They all work in different ways. And this now brings me on to the third step, which is that you need to find a winning product. Now, when it comes to doing product research, there's a specific way and specific tools that you can use depending on which platform you've decided to go with. But before I show you any of that, it's also important for you to understand the best types of products to sell. This is something that I wish someone sat me down and told me before I started my first e-com business, because it would have just saved me a lot of time, energy, and money. And what I mean by this is that you want to make sure that whatever product that you pick is evergreen, which means that the product is selling every single day all year round. You don't want to make the mistake of trying to sell a product that might only be selling well during Christmas, during Easter, during Valentine's Day, summertime, whatever it is. You want to find the product that people are searching for and they're spending money on every single day throughout the entire year. The second thing that you want to make sure that you do is that you are looking for a winning product that is small and lightweight. Because if you're able to find a product that is small and lightweight, it's not going to cost you a lot of money when it comes to you buying the product from your supplier. Even if you're thinking about doing drop shipping, it's not going to cost that much when it comes to the shipping fees. And it's not going to cost you that much when it comes to you actually shipping it to your customer, or if your customer wants to send it back to you for a refund. By finding a product that's high in value and it's also small and lightweight, you're going to be able to save a lot of money and make more profit. And the third thing that you want to consider when it comes to finding a winning product is that you want to make sure that the item that you're selling is something that people are going to use. And once they finish using it, they need to come back to you and buy it from you again. And there's so many different items that fall under this category, and I'm not going to be able to list all of them. I'm going to show you one in a moment. But the benefit to selling these type of items is that you're going to be able to build up repeat revenue from customers that have been happy with your service in the past, and they want to come back from you and buy the item again and again and again because they're happy with your quality, happy with your service, and they know exactly what to expect. But to give you an example of exactly how I would do product research when it comes to seeing if an item is selling well on eBay, the way that I would do that is by using this tool over here called Zik Analytics, because it works in a very simple way. As you can see, I'm on my dashboard right now, and I'm going to search for an item that meets all of the criteria that I mentioned earlier, which is battery. I'm going to type it in there just like that. I'm going to leave the shipping location as it is, the condition, the eBay site, all of this, and then I'm going to click on search. And as you guys can see over here, Zik Analytics is going to be able to come back with a lot of useful information. As you can see, just in the last 30 days alone, customers spent up to $176,000. And bear in mind that Zik Analytics is only showing us the data for the first 2 pages in the eBay search results, but we're going to be able to see a lot of information when it comes to us deciding on if we want to sell this item or not. So not only are customers spending a lot of money on it, we can also see that the successful listing rate is 45%. Now for this number right here, I would ideally want to make sure that it's above maybe 60%, but I'm only showing you this as an example when it comes to you knowing exactly how to do product research, when it comes to finding winning products to sell on eBay. And when it comes to finding a winning product to sell on Amazon, the tool that I like to use for this is called Helium 10 because it works in a very similar way. But what you need to do instead is come over to Amazon.com just like this, type in the item that you're searching for. So in this case, I've typed in batteries. And as you can see, there's all of these different listings over here. But what I do from this point is just come over to the Google Chrome extension tool, click into it just like this, click on this option. And as we can see, because Amazon is a bigger platform, in the last 30 days, batteries were able to generate over $17 million. And we're also going to be able to look at the search volume and see how many people are searching for this item every single day and if there's any trends. And of course, there's some other things that I would look at for me to know if it's definitely a winning product or not. But those are the two softwares that I use when it comes to finding winning products, Zik Analytics and Helium 10. And if an item is selling well on eBay or Amazon, then there's a high chance I'm going to be able to build an entire Shopify store around it and make sales when it comes to building my own website. So don't forget that if you did want to sign up for trials with Zik Analytics and Helium 10 so that you can go away and find your own winning products, use the links in my description down below. But once you have found whatever winning product that you want to sell, the next step after that is that you need to find a supplier. Now, when it comes to finding a supplier, it's all going to depend on which method of fulfillment that you've decided to go with, whether drop shipping or buying stock in bulk. Now, for example, if you're looking to buy inventory in bulk, then one of the best places that I recommend and the website that I've used myself is Alibaba.com. Because on Alibaba.com, you're going to be able to find manufacturers and traders in China that's going to be able to find you good quality items, and they're going to be able to send it to you. Again, I've used Alibaba.com countless amounts of times. You just need to make sure that when you go on there, you're finding the best supplier by looking at the years that they've been on there. And you also try and find a verified supplier, which means that a third-party company has gone to their warehouse to make sure that they're legit. And when it comes to drop shipping, there's multiple different options out there that you can choose from. You can use AliExpress when it comes to testing the product. You can also use CJ Dropshipping, and you can also use Alibaba.com when it comes to finding suppliers that are happy to dropship the orders for you instead of you having to receive the products yourself. There's so many different options available when it comes to finding dropshipping suppliers. But moving on to the fifth step throughout this entire e-commerce process, which is that you need to list the products in the best way. And when I say in the best way, what I mean by this is that you need to have clear images of the product from multiple different angles. You also need to make sure that you have a clear description in terms of all of the different features, all of the different specifications of the item. And just generally speaking, you need to make sure that you're considering SEO, which is search engine optimization. If you're thinking about selling on platforms like eBay and Amazon, you need to remember that fundamentally they're both search engines. Customers go on there every single day, type in keywords for items that they're thinking about buying. So by you remembering to use SEO, which is where you're going to strategically place keywords throughout your entire description and in your title as well, you're essentially going to be able to give yourself the best chance of getting your products ranked at the top of the search results, which of course is going to lead to more revenues and more profit. But moving on to the final thing that I'm going to touch on in this video that you need to know if you're thinking about starting an e-commerce business over the next year, which is that once you start to generate sales, you're going to need to reinvest your profits. This is another thing that I wish someone told me when I first started, because I always had the mindset that as soon as I was able to start bringing sales in, that's the point where I was going to be able to start paying myself, when that isn't true. Especially when it comes to a physical product business, you're going to have to generate revenues, generate profits, and reinvest it back, because you're going to have to buy the product again, and you're also going to have to increase your inventory base by offering more and more products. And of course, you're not going to have to reinvest your profits back into the business forever. There's going to be a certain point where you're going to have a certain amount of free cash flow. And once you have built up your free cash flow to a point that you're happy with, that's the point where you can now start to pay yourself. You have to remember that starting an e-commerce business isn't going to allow you to quit your job overnight. You're going to have to put continuous work into it. For myself, I had to build it up for around 5, 6, 7 months before I was able to quit my full-time job. And even when I did quit my job, I still had to reinvest into various different things so that I was going to be able to grow the business. Now, if you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to press the like button. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe as well and hit the bell notification. And if you wanted to get a little bit more information when it comes to the actual step-by-step process that I took when it came to starting my e-commerce business, and the things that I needed to know when it came to scaling my store to around $1,000 in profit every single day, you're going to be able to watch a completely free webinar by clicking the first link in the description down below. And if you also wanted to watch another YouTube video that I made not too long ago, where I break down some other important things that you need to be aware of when it comes to making money online, generally speaking, then I'm going to leave a video right there. Check that out straight after this one, because it's already helped out thousands of people, and I'm sure that it's going to help you out too. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Make sure you stay safe out there. Peace.